Christ. Folks, that's why this story, they're allegories telling us the story. The Bible itself is tied to the 42 because here are the two testaments. The Old Testament written in Hebrew, the New Testament written in Greek. That equals the number 42. I mean, the Bible, bi meaning two, duality. The Old and New Testament is duality, love and fear. Old Testament, written by the Hebrews, is fear. And the New Testament, where Jesus came on the scene, is about love, scrapping the old ways, moving into the new. But they're a total of 42. Remember, life, the universe, everything, 42. Tied to the Bible and theology, ladies and gentlemen. There are no separations. And in numerology, if you're a numerologist, which I'm hoping the majority of you decoders are studying numerology, because just some of you call it gematria. None of us do gematria. That's the coding of words into numbers. We don't do that. We decode. And when you get your outcomes, you got to know what these numbers mean. In numerology, there's what's called the capstone of the words. And that's the first letter. That's the rudder of the ship. It directs the word. Notice it's a 53. There it is, tied to the element iodine, 1/2 of the I am. Notice molybdenum's average atomic weight is 95, tied to the 95th element, americium, and there is the I am. I am that I am. It's right there. You cannot miss this code. These are all bridges. This is all part of the script. All of it. And there is no separation tied to our bones. Duality. Old and New Testament. Yin Yang. That's what it is. The cross looks like the letter T. And the letter T in the English alphabet is the 20th letter. What's interesting, of course, is the number 71 is the 20th prime number, and we know, I showed earlier, that is duality. So 42 leads to duality, wonderland, reincarnation, crucifixion, duality. The Bible has two testaments, duality. And 71 is tied to lutetium, and that's tied to, of course, Lucy and Lucifer, and that's tied to the sun because, you know, when you really look at this 71, I want to touch on this because this is important, but this 71, when you go to the periodic table, it's tied to this element right here called lutetium. I've shown this over and over, and you'll notice that the weight of lutetium is 174. And when you go study Manly P. Hall, the great Freemason, now I don't know if he's accurate, obviously this is just his opinion, but when you synchronize these layers like we're doing right now, it starts to create the story. And to me, it starts to deliver the real truth on the matter. And Manly P. Hall said, it's right there, Lucifer is represented by the number 741. And 741 is right there. It's right there. It's just an anagram of that. But you got to use common sense and logic. I mean, look at what it starts with. Lucifer's number is 741, and it's right there. Tied to the number 71. Tied to the 20th prime number, which is duality. Tied to the cross, because the cross is in the shape of the letter T. I mean, you can't miss this, ladies and gentlemen, when you can see how to synchronize all these layers together. So getting into a little bit more advanced synchronizations, we now get into the female reproductive system. Here it is right here, which kind of looks like a cross. Does it not? It kind of does. I'm showing this for a very specific reason. Because this is all about duality. This is all about duality. I mean, it's right there. T is 20. 20th prime number, 71, tied to Lucifer. That's why Jesus and Lucifer, they're all together. And when you really bring in the zodiac sign that works in unison with Venus, it's Taurus. Because, let me see if I have it up. Here is the natal chart of astrology. And astrology always starts right here. And this is the first house. And it goes counterclockwise, going back in time. So here's house number 1, and here's house number 2. And it's ruled by Taurus and Venus. And they both rhyme. Venus, Taurus. When you synchronize the chakras, it's going to be the second chakra called the sacral. And the sacral is right there. Now, the female reproductive system, where is it located? Right there. What's duality? It's 20, but when you drop that 0, it's 2. It's right there. 2 ovaries. The males have 2 testes, but the women, to procreate, to bring new life into this world, into duality, it's the ovaries. The female reproductive system, tied to the sacral, tied to Taurus and Venus. Taurus has 2 horns. Now, I'll leave it up to you. I already know what I see. But do you think there's a reason why Taurus and Venus are in the same house? And do you think this has any merit right here? Well, if you ask me, I know it freaking does. 2 horns, 2 ovaries. The Bible is Taurian. That's why it says by bull. What is a bull? It's Taurus. Taurus the bull. You can't make this up, folks. You just got to synchronize it and see it for what it is. And it's tied to the 42 because it's reincarnation, it's crucifixion, it's procreation, keeping you here in the game. Tied to Lucifer. I think this is the reason why people synchronize Lucifer being Venus. Because of this. And because of this. But I think there are many angles to observe all of this. Because, here is the solar plexus, aka the sun, even though it's Mars. There are a lot of synchronizations in all of this, all leading to the 42, all of them. And when you really bring it together, Jesus had a twin brother, the twins. His name was Thomas, otherwise known as Doubting Thomas, the negative one. They both equal the number 42. And when you reduce them down, Jesus becomes the number 9, Thomas becomes the number 6. What is 9 and 6 when you bring them together? It's the freaking yin yang, the 2 twins. And, when you go study the show Lucifer, which I decoded, the guy they casted to play Lucifer, his real life name is Thomas John Ellis. Thomas. His birth card is the 3 clubs, 16th card, matching the word hell. It's just all part of the script, and it's all funny to me, if you ask me. But what would the odds be that they cast Lucifer and his birth name is Thomas, Jesus' twin brother? Now, Jesus is in the show. Absolutely. When you do the alchemology of Jesus and Thomas, now if you're new to this, alchemology is numerology and then turning it into alchemy and combining the 2 together. So for instance, Jesus is a 15363, and then you just match the elements on the periodic table. 15363, hydrogen, boron, lithium, carbon, lithium. 15363, and Thomas is right here. And then you add them up using the trusty calculator. I mean, look at what you get, folks. 89.109. 109 is the 29th prime number. Yaldabaoth is 29 in the Chaldean. 89 is on the masculine side of the decimal. 89 is Yaldabaoth. What do you think Yaldabaoth is? It's the ruler or the personalities of Jesus and Thomas. Jesus and Thomas are the personalities of Yaldabaoth. It's either Yaldabaoth is the boss of the two twins, or Jesus and Thomas, the two twins, are the personalities of Yaldabaoth. It's one or the other. It's one or the other, and we're getting close to the truth. But how about that? 42. It's right there. I mean, folks, think about this. What are the odds that they cast Thomas to play Lucifer, and Jesus has a twin brother named Thomas? I mean, think about it and use your common sense and logic. All tied to Yaldabaoth. All of it. When you take the number 4 and 2 and you separate them and do the alchemy of those, you have beryllium, the fourth element, and the second element is helium. And going over to the trusty calculator, adding it up, look at what you get. 13.015. On the masculine side is the number 13, matching that with the tarot to give us the symbolism. It's death. Remember the words crucifixion, reincarnation. 42. Life, the universe, everything. 42. Death. And of course you got the devil on that side, the death devil. And that's tied to the architect. Folks, it's all right there. Staring us in the face, telling us the story. And death is part of life. It's death and rebirth, death and regeneration, which is tied to Yaldabaoth and zirconium. Death and regeneration, the scarab beetle. Let's get into the third topic. Oh, this one's going to be a fun one. This one's called fallen angels, because they have everything to do with 42. Life, the universe, everything? Yeah, it's tied to the fallen angel. And that's exactly what we all are. Now, I know you like some of you like the stories of the 200 fallen angels that came down here, Mount Meru and all that kind of stuff. That's part of the script, by the way. It's written in the script. I found it. It's all tied to Mars, tied to the sun. But there it is, fallen angel 42. That's why life, the universe, everything, reincarnation, incarnation, crucifixion, it's all part of the angels falling down here in this reality and reincarnating. That's what it's all about. And that's why at this current moment, of course, it's subject to change. If you personally ask me, I don't think there's a way out. I think we change avatars, we level up perhaps, and that's it. So enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. So angel and demon, again, are tied to that 42, life, the universe, everything. Look at the synchronization on what I'm showing you here, ladies and gentlemen. And, when you do the capstone of numerology of angel and demon, it's the 1 and the 4. 14 is tied to the word God. God equals 14. Time equals 14. It's all right there, folks. The angel and demon is it's the personalities of the architects. We have both. We have both. And there it is, reincarnation, angel, demon. Now, some of you say, well, no, I'm not a demon. I'm an angel. No, you're a fallen angel. And you have characteristics of both. That's what makes us human. It's impossible not to do sinful things. I don't think it's even possible to not sin. That's because we're imperfect. That's just the way this game works. It's all right there. Now, when you get into some interesting new ways of decoding, you can take the numerology of these words and then bring them into the tarot, and you can get some visuals. And notice, angel 17, demon is 25, giving us 42. 17th card in the tarot deck is the star card. That's our birth. You see, we're all fallen angels, When you get down here in Wonderland, when you get down here in physical matter, you become a little devil. And that's why we're both. And the 25th card, using the Fool is the card number 22, it's the Three of Wands. And this card is all about launching plans. Think about what I'm showing you here, folks. You're birthed into this world by being an angel from the stars. And then you land into this world, and then you must launch your plans. So that's what this card means, launching long-term plans. What would you be doing if you're a fallen angel incarnating into this world? You'd be launching your plans once you know what plans are. Start to move through life. So in essence, it's showing us that this is what we all are, and there's no escaping that. Not through these layers. And, when you add on the cards of illumination to get a more extensive version or an extensive observational point, it becomes even more interesting, because this is a typo, by the way, so don't even measure that. I have this here for a reason, but the 17th card in the cards of illumination is the Four Clubs card. And the 16th card in the deck, matching the Three of Wands. Wands means clubs. It's the Three Clubs card. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it gets really funny, and it shows the script, how everything's written into this software. Is this card is tied to this card. Three Clubs means the Three of Wands. And when you go right back to Lucifer, look at what Thomas John Ellis, the guy they casted to play Lucifer, this is his birth card. Right there, born on November 17th. 17, remember, 17 is the star card. So it's clearly telling you right there, and there's the match. Tied to the word hell. The word hell equals 16. This is the 16th card. But yet when you synchronize it to the tarot and the 25, you clearly can see how it all tells the story so perfectly. And when you can kind of wash away all the propaganda and the dogma and all that, what you're left with is the real story of why we're here. And it's the architect playing out its own game. And I've shown that now in so many, countless videos of people being used to experience life by way of the architect. So just enjoy the ride, discover your code. So the reason why I had the 26 there is, you see, when you move it into another layer, the 17th card in the cards of illumination is the Four Clubs. That's clubs means wands. There it is. It's the Four of Wands. And this card, notice the people behind there in their castle. Happy home. You're birthed into this world. Yay! Celebration. Angel. And then when you start to launch your long-term plans, you become a good little devil because you sin. Starting off in the star position, no blemishes, coming out into this world, but then as you move along and etch through life, you realize that you're just a good little devil. And that's just the way it is. And we sin, and that's just how it is in this reality. That's how it's made. The software is made that way. 42, angel demon. Even the word fallen, again, I showed this earlier, is 25. When you go watch this show, his license plate on the Corvette he drives, it says fallen. And it's a match right there. So I can assure you folks, Hollywood is using if they're consciously sitting down and using numerology, I can tell you what cipher they're using. Chaldean. They're not using reverses and satanics and septenary. They're not using those. Or the English reduction, they're not using those. Although you can find what you're looking for, you just got to get through more layers. But if, and I say that with a big if, because I don't think that many of these people in Hollywood are using numerology, they're just living out their script. And of course, because as fate would have it, the script's going to match up with the numerology, and that's why we're able to decode it. Some people, of course, consciously are probably using it, but many are not. And then, going back to the cards to give another rendition to show you the angel and demon being tied to the human being, the Homo sapien. There it is. It's the 4 and the 3, 17 and 16 tied to the angel and the demon. I showed this. It leads to the 33. 17 and 16, getting out your calculator, it's going to equal the number 33. 33. And that is tied to our vertebrae. Some have 34. But no matter which way you slice it, it's going to be one of the other. 33 plus 34 is 67, tied to the 19th prime, going right back to the sun. 19th card in the tarot is the sun card. So when you get into the alchemy now, folks, of the angel demon being 42, you now have chlorine being 17 tied to angel, and demon being 25 tied to manganese. And I showed how this is tied to the reincarnation process in when an angel falls. And when